Hey everybody, this is Richard Brooke here. Excited for the opportunity to have joining us here at our home, Devine and Mark Januszewski. Mark's known as, you probably know, the greatest, or the laziest networker in the world. And the creator of Grow 90 Grow, the author of Standing Tall, and the creator of the Master Key Experience. People from all around the world have followed this gentleman's coaching and mentoring to build their own network marketing empires. So I thought we'd take the opportunity, since we had him here at our home for a couple of days, because when I first met Mark, I didn't know his story, and I don't think his story really exists anywhere in one place. So what I wanted to do in this interview is kind of grab his story, before network marketing. Who was this guy, and how did he find network marketing, and what did he do in network marketing? And then he was one of the smart ones. He retired from network marketing. Nobody ever does that. Everybody just keeps trying to go to the next company or the next pin level. But I don't know. Retiring from network marketing, that seemed like the idea in the beginning, but very few people actually do it.
Right.
So I just thought it'd be cool to get your story captured in one place. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the early days and building, but mostly I want to talk about what are you and Devine doing over on Kauai? They're our neighbors. They're 189 miles
as the crow flies.
That way, I think. So it's awesome when we have fellow networkers here on the islands. We get a lot of visitors, but we don't have too many actual networking leaders that live here on Hawaii. So awesome to have you here. Welcome to our home, and let's tell a story.
Well, first of all, just the abundance that's all around us, and this is just another day of that. And we really appreciate you having us over, which is the biggest part of my story. Not the details of it, but the biggest part is gratitude. So we're grateful to be here, and I know that you like to talk a lot about gratitude. I think it's one of the first steps in, shifting the mindset a little bit. And, so we're grateful. The more things that you're grateful for, the more things to be grateful for pour into your life. And it's just magnificent to be here.
Yeah.
And, for any network marketers, we'll talk about it later. But the key is right behind us on the 12th hole. Interesting story from Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, who was married out there. But we'll circle back around that. Yeah, before network marketing, you want to know a little bit about how that started?
Tell us, where do you come from? What street do you come from? And, you can do fast forward, but I want to get a sense of, because everybody has this is who I was, this is what I was doing, this is how I saw the world. And then one day somebody started drawing circles, and maybe I missed it the first time, but eventually oh my God, circles are going to change my life.
Right.
So who were you before circles, and what were you doing, and what was life about?
Well, I graduated college in '71, and I got a very specific degree in English, which is, what do you do with an English degree, right?
Teach English.
Whatever. And I wanted to teach and coach, and I couldn't get a job teaching and coaching. At that time, there was an abundance of teachers, so I read an ad that said sports-minded people. And I answered the ad and drove from Cape Cod, about 77 miles exactly, went to an interview in a hotel that was over the Massachusetts Turnpike. They had built, it was like the first one over highway. And anyway, before I knew it, I was on a plane to Chicago thinking that I was going to, learn how to spell sporting goods. And I said, well, it's a little tight for me to get there. And they said, well, we'll get you tickets for the Bears and Packer game. I said, it's definitely I'm in. Oh, here's a really cool thing. The first night we're there, we went to the bar to have a beer or two, and we see these women down at the end of the bar, and they're doing forearm shivers into the bar, and I'm like, they're my kind of women. It was Joni Weston from the Bay Bombers. I don't know if you remember
roller derby gal.
So now this is great. I'm in the sporting world. It turned out it was insurance. Big switch. Anyway, I went to work for W. Clement Stone, and if people aren't familiar with him, they should be. If they're in direct sales or network marketing, which are really one and the same. From my point of view, we're selling people on themselves and us, really, when you get down to it. And anyway, so unfortunately, I was 22. But fortunately, Stone was so powerful that some of it seeped through. I didn't recognize the greatness that I was engaged in and being around this great man. So I sort of got this indoctrination with the Think and Grow Rich thing. So that was always there, and sold insurance and then books and went into business for myself and failed and went back to the insurance industry, made some more money, and kept trying to apply the principles that I had read about, but hadn't really taken the time to dig under the hood and do all of them. You know, like a lot of people, I was certainly guilty of it. I was looking for shortcuts.
Right.
And the actual steps of the masters is the shortcut. But I think then even was the beginning of this instant gratification sort of mentality that's out there. And I think all it does is waste time and make people suckers for the next magic system, and we'll get you thousands of leads or whatever it happens to be. So I eventually stumbled into the seafood business. I peddled on the road, cutlery, pots and pans and all that, door to door. Loved it, moving 30 to 60 miles a night from Holiday Inn to Holiday Inn, building a crew, trying to apply the principles of that crew that I had learned at Combined.
Mm-hmm. Combined Insurance, by the way, was owned by W. Clement Stone, and for those of you that are too young to really know who Stone is, he's one of the original success authors and mentors. He was a mentor to Napoleon Hill. He founded Success Magazine. He founded Combined Insurance, where he applied all of these success principles. There are literally tens of thousands of people like Mark around the world that were fortunate enough to get involved in Combined as an insurance agent. And it's kind of like you've heard, you know, a particular network marketing company might be described as, you know, we're a personal development company disguised as a nutritional company. Well, Combined Insurance, I mean, I wasn't there, but from the people I know that have been around it, you know, it had to be a personal development organization, you know, disguised as we're selling insurance so we have some money to play with.
Exactly.
And it strikes me how your life would have been different had you hadn't answered that ad.
Unbelievable.
And if you think about, think about like how everybody gets connected to opportunity, or they get connected to a particular mentor, you know, it seems random, but it's not random, because something was going on in your mind that, first of all, you even saw that ad. I mean, how many ads were there in whatever you were looking at?
The Cape Cod Standard Times, not that many.
Okay, so, but you were reading the Cape Cod Standard Times, and so this ad pops out at you, and then, but then you have this conversation like, this is for me, or maybe this is for me. Like, just that conversation changed your life.
Right.
Because if you hadn't had that conversation, you wouldn't have gone to Chicago, you wouldn't have met Stone, you wouldn't have got into his mentorship.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy how your life, and then you think about, if your life would have gone off, whatever, selling fish for the rest of your life, how many other people's lives would have missed opportunity, all because you see an ad and you say to yourself, this could be for me.
This could be for me. Yeah.
I love that.
This could be for me.
So you start selling fish, and you're trying to apply all these incredible success principles to selling fish. You told me, like, you know, you recruited people and you got a crew, and they're all out with these trucks full of fish.
Yeah, trucks full of fish. You know, I said, well, we'll sell fish door to door. Why not, right? Because that's what I knew. And basically, that was 14 years of doing that. I had worked in restaurants and leased a restaurant bar and run all that. And so I know a little bit about it, but fundamentally, I started to apply the principles. Little did I know at the time is that I was, and like you were just saying, these things happen in our lives, and while they're happening, we think that they're skew things, but it's almost like this beautiful story that you've authored. And what happened was, in the seafood business, they changed the law around inspecting seafood. And this goes back into, I'm going to say, the early 90s. And all of a sudden, the price of seafood just jumped. So a lot of us had put us over our credit lines. So we could take out less fish. And basically what I didn't realize was happening, Richard, was unlike selling cutlery and pots and pans door to door that I had done for years, is I sold someone a bag of shrimp. And then I could sell them 6 weeks later some shrimp and some haddock and maybe some swordfish. So I started to develop this regular thing. And so when I was pitched on network marketing, the idea of selling somebody once and getting paid over and over and over again, it was there.
You heard that. You could see it.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it because by that point I had some children. And the wives weren't crazy about sending them a check from, I used to send postal money orders, first stop every morning.
Yeah.
You know, a couple $100, send it home to the bride. And, you know, it was out with the boys, right? Not a great way to solidify a family. Yeah. So anyway, basically what happened was I got hit with what I like to call a cluster, and we've all had those. And I think to rewind a little bit, in the 80s, while I was doing well in the seafood business, I was pitched on network marketing. And I joined Herbalife and I was at Herbalife when they went through their biggest growth period. And New Skin, I joined them when they went through their biggest growth period. None of that growth was under me.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah.
So in a way, you know, if somebody says, you know, I dabbled in network marketing, you need to understand they failed.
Right.
If you sign up and didn't do anything, you failed. It's okay. But when you hear people say, I dabbled, what they're saying is they failed. And they should be a big clue if you're recruiting that they need some reassurances that you're going to give them some help, that you know the way. And so what happened was in 92, actually 93, this kid called me up who I had sold Britannica with. He had got me involved in a couple of MLMs. They didn't work out. And, you know, I looked at it, I failed 5 times in the 80s, but I never really did the job.
Right.
And because I didn't take the time to study the industry. And so basically, I got hit with what I call a cluster or a trioka. My mom went blind. The 2 kids that I had, came to live with me full time, and the seafood industry income went down about 25-30%, and I was going to take another 30% hit. So the guy that I called me in January, God bless you, Steve, he's gone on to the next adventure. I was half hoping he had made it, because now I needed the money. I could see this great, awesome responsibility of raising kids was going to be fantastic, except I didn't have enough money to cover the month. Right. Within the next couple of months, when the law took full effect. So I was faced with, I failed at this 5 times, how's it going to work this time? So I called him up, and I said to him, look, fax me the checks. He said he was making $1,800. I was praying he had failed because we were competitors, and I was praying he had made it because I needed a better way.
What was the opportunity?
I was Market America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went to work there, and things changed. But the period before that, Schopenhauer writes about this later in his life, the great philosopher, sort of the philosopher's philosopher. He said, you don't realize it until you're in your 50s or 60s and you look back on it, and what seems like all these unrelated things, it's almost like this perfectly scripted play. And the play tends to turn out better when we say yes to possibilities rather than make decisions based on fear.
Yeah, say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was it about your approach to Market America? What made the difference? What did you do different in Market America that wasn't dabbling, that was intentional, that was professional, that produced success? Right.
Well, that's a great question. I said, you know, I got to take ownership. I didn't really throw myself into Herbalife and New Skin. I mean, it's amazing. Every company those 5 that I failed at, they were all great.
Right.
And they were to be monsters, you know. So I said, well, I got the ability to pick a company. I just don't have the ability to execute the deal. So I started going to trainings and started listening to people. And I really needed it, and I wanted it bad. It was a commitment, because before I was making 6 figures, in the seafood business, it would have been nice if it worked out, but that burn wasn't there.
Right.
And that was a flaw in my thinking. I can tell you right now, what's the major change in my life with my wife is we don't do anything unless we decide to do it. And when we decide to do it, there's no way we don't finish.
Right. There's no option for bailing.
No.
Because it gets tough.
Well, what happens when you bail is you're teaching your subconscious mind, which is where all success and failure comes from. You're teaching your subconscious mind it's okay to quit.
Right.
And so I know all these slogans like "Don't quit," you can't fail, you can only quit, don't ever give up. It's total bullshit. Okay, it doesn't work. Not quitting had nothing to do with winning. And the way winners win is they finish what they start. I've noticed in a couple of conversations that we've had, you take your time before you commit to saying yes or no, and when you say yes, you do it. And that's what a winner is, and that's who you need to be around. So I got involved in Market America. This time I'm really going to do it. I had the gift of desperation, as W. Clement Stone would say, and it was worse than it had ever been. I was failing again, and I went down to see a guru, this like in Hartford, Connecticut, and now I'm down to roll and change. And so I'm saying, well, I'm going to go see this guy, and I drive down. And I was in the auditorium. There was probably about 300-400 people. I'll never forget it. The West Hartford Marriott. And he gets up and he says, we're going to talk about two things today. In the morning, we're going to talk about goals. And in the afternoon, we're going to talk about persistence. Because without goals and persistence, you'll fail. And I literally got sick to my stomach. And I walked out, and I'm walking along this board, sort of like a wainscoting. I thought I would maybe going to get down because I said, I don't even know if I got enough money to get home.
It would have been nice if he taught you something that you didn't need persistence for.
Right. Right. And this guy saw me and he said, are you okay? And I said, no. And I broke down in tears and he walked me over the couch just to condense the story. It turns out he was in network marketing, and there's one of those things. If you're doing the right things will happen. So he sat me down and we talked about it, and he said, are you willing to forget everything you know about network marketing? And I said, and so he said, well, basically I want you to imagine two people, Al and Nancy, and that everything's the same company, same hygiene, same product, same compensation plan, sponsored on the same day. One's cashing checks, one isn't. What's the difference? And I said, I don't know. And he said, you're going to get rich. And so my biggest tip to anybody building is, our egos sometimes prevent us from saying, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Will you show me how?
Right.
And find winners and do that. I said, I don't know. And he said, well, the difference is skills. If you're going to make some money, you need to learn some skills. And so I started to study the industry from a non-industry point of view. We talked about it yesterday. I studied Pareto, who actually created the 80-20 rule, and that, 20% of your team should be producing 80% of the volume. And as I looked around at other networkers, I didn't see it. So that put me on a path that was a little different than what was traditionally being taught in network marketing, which is not quit, and very similar to what you're teaching instead. And eventually developed the idea of the 3 M's, mind, mechanism, and method. You've got to have the right mindset. And that was very different for me. So I went back to, surprise, surprise, Think and Grow Rich, and W. Clement Stone's book, The Success System That Never Fails. And instead of doing some of it,
did all of it.
Because I'm the laziest networker in the world, I did all of it. And I'll never forget W. Clement Stone when he gave me the book in '71. He said, "This is not a book. It's an exercise." And so that's what we did. And I started applying it, and everything in the network marketing industry turned around. Started to study the one key thing that I think everybody needs to know is, how do people actually make decisions? I thought that would be a good thing to know. Mm-hmm. If you know how people make decisions, then you can have more conversations with them. And we decided around by mid-94, to pursue a totally different avenue in recruiting people, which was being incredibly transparent. Not saying we're transparent, but actually being transparent and looking for people to collaborate with rather than control. Looking for people to get them what they truly want. And you have to find out what it is that they truly want. Because most people, when they get involved in network marketing, the real things that they think they want is really just a list of things that they don't want anymore. Credit card debt, mortgage, and all that. So that was basically the big breakthrough for us, was to start to study success patterns and then see which ones were applicable to network marketing. A lot of what you've done with the, your Bliss approach to everything. So the mind is the most important thing. And we talk to people, you got to spend 20 to 30 minutes a day, not reading 800 books. I think you only need 2. And, I have my own choice on those, but 2, and really become a student of them.
Well, what are they? What's your 2 choices?
Well, I like Stone's The Success System That Never Fails, or Think and Grow Rich. We teach Think and Grow Rich inside Go 90 Grow as an exercise. And there's another session starting at the end of January, beginning of February.
People want to know more about Go 90 Grow. Where do they go?
Yeah. Go90grow.com. They can get on. That's it. Pretty simple. Imagine that. Created that.
Go90grow.com.
Yeah.
So if I can encapsulate this, how many years did you spend building organizations? You built 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3 different companies?
6 winners.
6 times you built successful organizations?
6 winners, and
some of those you
never
built
cannibalized.
Built and sold.
At the end.
Or built and then parked and then built another one.
Right.
And never went back and tried to move people from one to the other, which is one of the big curses of our profession.
No, herding people from deal to deal. What was it in Star Wars? I don't know who's the fool or the fool who follows the fool, I mean, people go from deal to deal. They're looking to get in, when it's hot, ground floor opportunity, give me a break. Most of them don't make it. But basically, we built 6. One of them was a phone deal, which we knew would probably be a 12 to 24-month deal that would basically sell out the distributors, trash the distributorship and keep the customers. But at the end, there were 5 of them that we were getting paid on.
That's awesome.
In 2010. And we never cannibalized one. Everyone was built from scratch.
And your philosophy around building those is like find people to partner with, find out truly at a deep level who they are, what's important to them, what their gifts are, what their strengths are, partner with them, not only in the business but in their personal development path.
Right.
And as it's, that's easy to say those things, folks. But if you look at 99.9% of the network marketers in our profession, they may say those things, but they don't actually do them. What they actually do is recruit people and then use people to get volume and get advancement.
Yep.
And they just keep doing that.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a frantic approach to doing the business. And it really takes a great deal of confidence and peace and a perspective of, that you're no longer desperate.
Yep.
And you really know what you're doing, and you're a professional. And when you take that approach to the business, you can really see people as a long-term investment. And so that's a beautiful thing. So how many years total did you spend actually building empires in network marketing?
From 93, late 93, until 2009. We knew I knew what I wanted to do by 2007, because the train wreck, of the internet and network marketing, which should have been a beautiful marriage, it's a train wreck, because most companies and leaders are irresponsible. And, one of the things that's always attracted us to people like you, and particularly you and Kimmy, is that you're not irresponsible. You're providing training. And these companies have offloaded it on leaders. You got 20 different leaders teaching 20 different things. Yeah. And let's be honest, the business isn't that complicated. Right. You get names, you call them up, you show them your shit, you collect the decision, and the ones that join, you teach them to do the same thing. The thing that'll make a big difference is their personal development. And that's always, we get that from you. And we get that from a very minuscule amount. So I knew my good friend Tom Big Al Schreider, we were sitting in Worcester. My beautiful wife is over here with Richard's gorgeous wife, Kimmy. And
how come she's gorgeous and I'm beautiful?
you know, that's an interesting. Yes, there is.
There's no cheese
yes,
down that. There's no cheese.
Yeah.
There's no cheese.
Why?
You told me yesterday you don't have to go to every fight you're invited to.
You're right. You know, and this is, you need in network marketing, you need a good corner man. It's really that simple. So basically, you know, what we realized was I was banging on the table. And you know me, some things people aren't going to like that I say, so this is probably one of them. I'm banging on the table at a Bertucci's Pizza, forget about it. Awesome stuff in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I'm saying, Al, I can't believe these people are spending $3, $4, $5 grand to go to these giant pitch fests. And, you know, they're getting ripped off and then they can't go to their own convention.
Right.
And Al does what he always does. He said, would you like to do something about it? Right? And I said, honey, I think we got an idea. And of course she said, oh, my wife does all the website work and everything. So that's really where it started. And I said, you know what, this industry's been so good. You know, we're going to be able to live the life, live inside the dream now, not later. And so we felt it was the only ethical thing to do was to move all them. We gave one away to a guy that did a lot of work to help us get started with the websites. We resigned from one, and the rest of them we sold. Yeah. And
What brought you to Kauai?
Well, what happened was I had been to Hawaii. I was asked to speak in Hawaii, and I loved it. And so they invited me back. I guess I did okay. When I came back that time, I told Davine about it, and so I convinced her to come here, and I had some frequent flyer miles. So we paid for the trip with frequent flyers, and we were on Oahu. And I thought we were going to Maui, and we landed in Kauai, right? Because they had this special deal with hotels at $79 a night, but you can only stay 3 nights in the Sheraton. So I called every Sheraton. The last one we called to get 3 more nights was on Kauai. We were there 10 minutes. And we're driving down the tunnel of trees, and she said, are you feeling this? And I said, feeling what? And I was feeling something. She said, we're home. Yeah. My beautiful wife has D. Cravanes, which I think is bogus. I think it's a made-up thing. But her hands and feet get really cold in the cold weather. So we had to get out of New England for January, February, and March. So we were looking for a warm place.
So that's cool. So you moved to Kauai, which is, I don't think anybody looking at a map of the United States would say, if you're going to start a network marketing, generic coaching, training, and mentoring business, they probably wouldn't pick Kauai as the base. You know, it's kind of like our bases are in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is, that's not a place to have a network marketing company. But you just did it anyway. And I love that whole concept, like, every once in a while somebody will ask me, so if you were to coach like young people, what would you tell them? What would you do over again? One of the first things that comes to mind that I would do over again is before I picked my spouse or my career, or I would pick where I wanted to live. Right. Like I would go explore the United States or the world now, explore the world, pick a place where you want to live, pick a place that's like spiritual home, like a base for you. Go move there and then figure out what you want to do for a living. And meet the love of your life. And so it's so cool that like you didn't move to Kauai to retire, you moved to Kauai to build the next generation of your business.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
To live while you're building. So tell us, what is your business? What's Go 90 Grow? What's the Master Key experience? What exactly are you doing? Because one of the things that I noticed about you out of all of the generic trainers out there is you're doing something different. And so I've been on a casual quest for the last year to figure out exactly what that is. Yeah. Because you're a little bit
out there.
Well, you're not only a little bit out there, but you're a little bit mysterious about all of it.
Yeah.
Probably some kind of marketing ploy.
No, I'm just just lazy. Just lazy.
Just lazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, what we do is we tell people the truth, and that isn't really that popular. I think that a lot of the generic stuff that's out there, okay, tries to leverage their fear and experience. If people are coming from fear and experience, they're really not ready to succeed, okay? They've got to decide, you know, this business, anybody can do it, why aren't I doing it? And so what we really do is tell people, look, if you're going to make some money in network marketing, it takes some work. Let's be candid. You're talking to other people about making a 6-figure plus income, being able to retire in a place like this in 2 to 3 years. It's gonna take some work. If you knew how to do it, you'd already be doing it. So one of the things is we're really direct. And, you know, we let people know that this is what you need to do. This is what's necessary. What is necessary, Mark? Well, between 9 in the morning and 9 at night, the only thing you should be doing with your network marketing business is your network marketing business. In other words, social media, checking the volume, your company pages. You know, that's a bullshit, okay? So basically, some people don't like that. And, you know, they're going to practice.
If you're not checking Facebook and looking at your reports, what should you be doing?
Talking to people that aren't in the business about the business.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. You know, we like to say, we keep it really simple. The main thing is to keep the main thing. Because
tell me again, what is the main thing?
Talking to people, in your case, about life matters that are not in life matters. Because if you're talking to anybody else, it doesn't matter. Right?
People like that.
You know, 2 distributors talking to each other. What are we gonna do? Sponsor each other under aliases? Go talk to some people that aren't in the business. So the first thing we do, like we'll give you a little sample of it next week, is, you know, people are trying to find leads and all that stuff. Next week I'm gonna do a webcast, nothing for sale. I'll show you how to generate instantly 5,000 leads. Wow. And then the following week we'll have 3 free. And right in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Free. We like that word.
Free, yeah. And by the way, you never, ever, ever make cold calls. W. Clement Stone, they are gold calls. They are gold calls, okay? You're panning for gold. It's freaking awesome. I'll tell you something about network marketing. I'm rolling now, okay? Okay? Let me tell you something about network marketing.
Tell me something
okay?
about it.
Network marketing is, you have to put in the effort. Okay, you've got to do some practice so you're ready, but you don't practice between 9 and 9 because you've got to keep the main thing the main thing. This whole thing about sponsored 20, 30 people a month, hide your credit cards, run the other way, okay? My biggest regret in network marketing was when I first learned these skills in the mid-90s, and there's only 3 major skills, folks. You talk to people how to start the conversation, which is a dialogue, not a pitch.
Right.
How to end the conversation, and then the conversation that you have with them once they're in, so they can have the conversation and finish the conversation. What do we need 87 different systems for? So basically, you know, my feeling about it is that we're going to show people how to get the names. Well, my biggest regret in network marketing, once I really hit stride with these skills, remember we were doing, I got online, my honey over here, and I was so bummed out because I only sponsored 73 people that month. My biggest regret, sponsored too many people. Now at Zango, which was the last deal I built, I sponsored people for 90 days. Now I continue to keep the main thing, but only on behalf of other people. And 5 of the people that I sponsored were my mom and her 2 brothers and 2 sisters. So really we only sponsored 12 people and built a group of 9,500 quote unquote active reps. In other words, not zeros,
right,
on auto ship, doing several 100,000 a month in volume. You don't need a lot of people. Now that list that we put together, I had 2 couples and a single person and 3 daughters, our 3 daughters, around for pizza and salad. We built a list of 337 people in an hour and a half. I told those couples they couldn't come in. You know, it was just a friendly thing. We got some names, and we worked halfway through that list to find a dozen people to build a $25,000 a month on average income.
So
You
is that what you teach in Go 90 Grow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of people.
And how long does Go 90 Grow last?
Well, it's based on P90X, right? I took it from there. You know, for some people that had the gift of desperation, like I did, Richard, I wanted people to be able to get something that they could transform themselves, just like P90X will transform a body. They can transform themselves into a very successful network marketer, because they're going to go through Think and Grow Rich as an exercise. They're going to learn the skills. They're going to have unlimited leads. You'll never run out of people to talk to.
Is this a 90-day boot camp?
It's 90 days, but it's a lifetime thing. We have people, it's a one-time membership fee, no dues, no ongoing fees, no annual renewal, none of that stuff. And we also give away an equal amount of full scholarships with, what don't you see there?
I don't see anything.
You don't see any strings. There's no strings attached, okay? So it'll help you do that. And fundamentally, what we do is work on the mind. Now, the mechanism, that's a person's company.
So there's lots of different companies involved. That's the mechanism.
Yep.
Mind is first, mindset. Mechanism is whatever the particular opportunity is, and then
The methods, which are the skills.
Right.
Yeah, how to talk to people. I want to tell you something. I've actually been tempted to come out of retirement because what's been eroding in our culture, which is having a true dialogue with another human being, has been eroding. And the internet and the cell phones, as great as those things are, they have accelerated or exacerbated the inability of people just to have a conversation.
So if you were to come out of retirement, what would you be looking for in a company?
Well, first of all, no deals.
Oh, gee.
No deals. Okay.
We live up to that.
Yeah. Any companies that are giving deals aren't companies that are going to be around long.
Let's take a hard left and tell us about the Master Key experience.
The Master Key experience, well, really interesting is that, you said what are the 2 books? And for business, it would be The Success System That Never Fails and/or Think and Grow Rich in combination. The other one I like is the Master Key System. When Napoleon Hill was given the charge from Carnegie, he had a minute to say yes, and he said yes. He'd go study this for 20 years and not get paid. As it turns out, Carnegie gave Hill the book, The Master Key System, which is 24 lessons, 1 a week. And so we actually teach that, and over the years, because of my background in education and then going back to the schools in Boston, I actually had 2 degrees, English and education. We have found some ways to help people trick the subconscious mind. The bottom line, I think what we're talking about with network marketing and the Master Key experience, which is my real passion in life. That's what I really wanted to do, is help people learn to think for themselves. Most people don't think for themselves. We've been conditioned to, we're almost like sniveling approval seekers, okay? And we don't know how to be happy. No matter what pin level you get to with a network marketing company or job title, it's then the next one and then the next one. And if happiness is on the if happiness is on the other side of the goalpost and they keep moving the goalpost, you're in trouble.
Right.
So what we really fell in love with the Master Key System, which is really the same wisdom that's been taught for over 4,000 years. And that's about an hour to an hour and a half a day. A lot of people think, and that's just once a year in September, a lot of people think, wow, an hour and a half a day, I don't have time to do that. And well, the question is why? Well, they're too busy trying to maintain a life that they don't like. The world within creates the world without.
So an hour and a half a day for how many days?
About 180 days.
6 months.
6 months.
Wow.
6 months.
That's an intense indoctrination into success thinking.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's got to produce fantastic results.
Oh, the stories are just the stories of what happens, of people making a real difference in their life. Like we were talking about earlier, if you look at someone's initial goal statement, it's credit card debt and mortgage and this and that and shore up their retirement. These people are actually going out and creating magnificent change in their lives, which as a result, they're changing it in here, so it changes it out here, and the ripple effect of that is amazing. You know, we have inside that course, we teach people speed reading so they can read a little faster. We encourage them to read less and think more. A lot of the time they're spending is just sitting and thinking and improving their concentration. So we'll give them the hook for here, right? Gates got married here. Really interesting story, which I think is what you and I are talking about. Different language, but the same thing. Is what the master key system does is it develops this one thing above all else, right? The world within creates the world without. How do you manifest those things in your life that you want to create to make the world a better place, to make yourself a better person? Because that's how it happens. We improve personally and everything gets better professionally, relationships and everything. Well, as it turns out, Bill Gates' mother contacted Warren Buffett and said, why don't you come over for dinner? And he was quite amused, double-checked, and made sure it was actually her, picked up the call, and he said, yeah, sure, I'll come over for dinner. They're eating string beans and potatoes and meatloaf. And it's Gates and his brother and Warren Buffett, and the brother says, can I ask you guys something about success? And they both said, sure. And he said, well, I'll ask you first since you're a guest here, Mr. Buffett. He said, what's the one thing that's made you successful? And Gates and Buffett simultaneously and instantly said, focus. That's it. Yep. And so that's really why we're so impassioned about the master keys. And, you know, the Go 90 Grow is a great gateway into that. If they go through Think and Grow Rich, they're then ready for that. And they're all scholarshiped into it anyway. Is focus, and that's what I found, is people like you, people like Kimmy, you know, she looks like this, but she's focused, you know. She
looks like this.
She looks like, you know, just this smiling, blonde, having a good time, Hawaiian, you know, but she's making it happen.
It's a little amateurish maybe, but I've never forgotten the analogy of, so you take all this sunlight here, and you know, certainly it produces stuff. It produces warmth and light, but you know, with the right prism, you know, we can take this light and focus the light. Like take the light and focus the light, and we can start a fire on this lawn. We can burn this chair up. We could melt that camera.
Yeah.
We could burn a hole in the side of this house. And yes, I've never heard that story before. That's a great story. Let's end this with telling us about Standing Tall, your book, which you just released about, I don't know, 6 months or a year ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Tell us about that book.
Well, again, it's action-driven, and you know, your wonderful story that you wrote on the back about it. We thank you for that endorsement. Schreider said the same thing, you know, don't buy this if you're not willing to do the work. It's basically as around giraffes. I love giraffes, and I have an acronym for giraffe, and that's one of the places you and I are, you know, just keep finding these places where we're linked. G stands for gratitude, and that it's a cause, not an effect. And, you know, I is imagination. So the book Standing Tall, we were kind of surprised. It instantly went bestseller. And Joey the Giraffe, which is a companion book, is really for kids to teach the same principle, because everyone in the Master Keys kept saying, we got to get this to kids earlier. We got to get this to earlier, before we've been conditioned to be followers, before we've been inserted into the momentum of mediocrity, you know. Right. Usually by the time a kid's 6 or 7 years old, it's over. He's trying to fit in. And so anyway, the reviews have been kind of humbling, and it's really been a sweet experience, because it's Giraffe is 7 letters, so I think G-R-A-A-F-F-E. Yeah, 7 letters. And, so you're spending 2 weeks reading the same thing, same 2 pages, to try to influence your subconscious mind and develop 7 different habits. That will lead you to the treasure map, which are the 13 riches in life, and right out of Matthew. And the last of these, of course, is money. Mm-hmm. So how you can instantly manifest the riches of life. And so we're so similar like that. The riches of play,
Right.
the riches of love, the riches of intimacy, and so forth.
So this isn't a book to read. This is a book to study. And it's one of the things you and I certainly agree on is, this whole sort of cultural habit of badge of honor about how many books I've read. I read a book a week or a book a month, and people promote that on Facebook, and yet the question I would ask any of those people is, how many of those books can you teach for an hour without notes, without notice?
Right.
And if you can't teach a book for an hour without notes, without notice, you don't own it.
Exactly.
So Standing Tall is a book to study, just like Think and Grow Rich,
Right.
just like The Master Key to Riches, just like
Yeah.
the success system that never fails.
Yeah, and there's little checklists in there.
Oh, cool.
So you check it off, and you can see your progress and all that. And
people get that on Amazon?
They get that at Amazon. They go to Mark J. Books, which will link them right into Amazon, or Amazon,
Cool.
directly to Amazon. It's the same thing.
And where's the best place for people to do a deep dive on your stuff?
World'sLaziestNetworker.com.
World'sLaziestNetworker.com. World'sLaziestNetworker.com.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, buddy, for coming to our little humble island of Lanai
Just
and
beautiful.
hanging out for a couple days.
It's beautiful. I was using a little reverse psychology on my wife last night, saying, I don't think you could make it here.
It's too quiet.
She's selling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do it.
Well, she's a blue. She's a perfect fit for this.
Perfect.
Yeah. The reds are the ones that shouldn't be able to handle it.
Exactly. She's doing great. It was really good. Yeah, we loved it. It's just magnificent. Thanks for opening us up to this.
Hey, thank you for joining us in this interview. Here's a hero maker, Mark J., the laziest networker in the world. Study on him.
Peace. Mahalo.